Yeah, just a second. Okay, yes, to start with this machine learning assignment for lab practice 3. So the course outcome for this lab assignment 3, which is related to machine learning, are just a second. Yeah. The first one is learn the effect of data preprocessing on the performance of machine learning algorithms. Yes, this is important as students are have the understanding of, the machine learning preprocessing methods and the part, related to the different algorithms. The first and important is how do we handle data preprocessing part. So this is actually some basic part is covered in DSBDA, so which is in third year, right? So based on this, the first outcome is derived, which says that learn the effect of data preprocessing on the performance of machine learning algorithms. So students are expected to apply different data preprocessing method, analyze the effect of data preprocessing method on the given data set and how it is going to make a effect on implementation on working of machine learning algorithms. So this is supposed to be done in this particular assignments. The second one is in-depth understanding of implementation of regression models, as there is a separate regression unit in machine learning and the assignments which are framed based on these units. So it is in-depth understanding is expected for the regression models. And in the third, implementation and evaluation of supervised and unsupervised machine learning method, where they're supposed to build a classifier, they have to develop a clustering algorithm as well as neural network, a basic assignment which supposed to be implement along with the evaluation by using suitable metrics is expected in this particular course outcome. So these are the course outcomes of machine learning assignments which we are going to handle, which we are going to address by performing number of assignments. So in the syllabus there are 6 assignments given and 3 mini projects which are recommended to implement. Okay. Now out of this 6 assignment, any 5 assignments students supposed to complete. Okay, and 1 mini project. So when the students are implementing mini project, they're supposed to be 2 students in a group to perform the assignment. So only 2 students, not maximum, more than 2 students are expected to do this mini project. So this is very important. The assignments which are framed for this machine learning, the first machine learning subject is the first assignment 1. Do you have any queries till this point? Okay, I will take the queries afterwards. Yeah, in assignment 1, what the student supposed to do is, there is a data set of Uber ride data set which is available, which is available on Kaggle. And for this particular data set, students have to predict the price of Uber ride. So you need to understand, students need to understand what are the data sets, what are the elements in the data set, and accordingly they're supposed to predict the price of Uber ride corresponding to its earlier data set which is available based on the starting point, ending point, and the price. Okay, so there are 3 elements which are there in the given data set, and once the analysis of this data set is required, and prediction based on the given pick-up point to agreed drop-off location, they have to predict the price of Uber ride. So for this things, they supposed to implement following steps in which they have to understand the data set, apply suitable pre-processing methods, check whether there are missing data or not, check whether there are outliers or not, and standard method they're supposed to use to identify outliers and take a action to remove those outliers, or whatever maybe based on the outlier, maybe based on their values, they can take an action. So this 2 analysis is expected in the first assignment. Then correlation is expected in between the features. So the correlation matrix is important. And once student complete with this task, they're supposed to implement the linear regression and random forest regression model. Okay, and evaluation is important. So evaluation with reference to R2 RMSE is expected to do in this assignment 1. Okay, now very importantly that we have given the data set, we have mentioned the data set, but it is recommended. But if you get the data set which is more suitable for the assignment, you can even change the data set at your so this decision supposed to be taken by lab coordinator. Okay, because we are recommending these data sets. So if you get more suitable data set or more relevant data set, you can even change the data set. Okay, so this is very much clear from our side. So yes, so there is an implementation of first assignment. Let me open the assignment. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Now, in the first assignment, what is mentioned, I'm not going in detail of the first assignment, how it has been done and everything, but I will just tell you what is the flow of assignment. Uh, 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 how do we implement the assignment? What are the steps to be carried out? One and important thing is that students have to make use of Python. They can use scikit-learn library or any other equivalent library functions to implement the assignment. Okay, now there are even Mahale sir has recommended to us that students should understand how the algorithm works, how it is being implemented by taking some examples into consideration, implement those assignment manually, and then they should go for the assignment conduction. Okay, so as we are going to make use of APIs, so this is very important to understand the API. What are the different APIs which are available? What are the parameters? What are the meaning of the parameters? So this is very important. Okay, so yes, so the first assignment, as I said, the recommended data set and which you can change uh, according to the assignment, but it is expected to implement this regression model. Okay, now the relevant required libraries supposed to be imported, like pandas library, which is required, then numpy, cborn is for visualization, and matplotlib if it is plotting purpose. Then we are reading the file, and in the data frame, correspondingly data frame is actually uh, displayed over here. And then the complete information supposed to be represented by applying the info function, where they would get the data types, they would get the number of elements which are available. So if I see the size of the data set, if you can see that 98305, right? So these many rows are there in the given data set. Now, these are all the columns which are available, and these columns, they supposed to be, I mean, refer for this, like fair amount, then pickup date, time, pickup longitude, latitude, this all things are there, right? Now here, important point is that in the data set, it is mentioned that longitude and latitude of pickup point as well as drop of longitude and latitude is there. So you can use the regression model in two ways. The one thing is that you can simply calculate the distance by just subtracting this longitude by latitude value by making use of suitable function. Once you get a distance, then you can just compare, or you can just a single linear regression where you can have a distance parameter with the fair amount parameter, right? So this thing can be done, or else students supposed to make use of multilinear regression where they have to use all the parameters. Okay, so these are this way you can make use of the algorithm implementation. Yeah, this is all the basics. The data frame shape is, there are 7 features and there are number of rows, number of sample, I mean, which are available is 98350. You can see the data set, even you can describe it by using the suitable function. Once you get a description, then you need to apply the pre-processing method. For that purpose, we have to see whether these are some of the, I mean, what are the missing values in the given data, and accordingly we can take a relevant uh, mechanism to handle this missing data. So here it is replaced by mean, it is replaced by median, longitude and latitude, and accordingly the data is cleaned. Okay, so once the data is clean, what we supposed to do is we're supposed to apply the algorithm. So now if I see, yeah, once I completed with the pre-processing, the next part which I'm supposed to do is finding out the outliers. So the standard method of doing outliers and finding out the outliers is box plot method, right? So box plot method is already, I mean, it has been covered in DSVDA as well. So individual feature and then the plotting of box plot is required. Once you do the box plot, then you have to calculate the simple algorithm where we have to find out which are in the lower side and which are in the outer side. And if they are coming in the outer side or lower side, you can take appropriate decision by removing those outliers or by handling or by taking it into the data, depending on what is the data which is available to us, right? So once you do this, then once you handle this, if you plot it, you see that there are no outliers in the data set. Okay. So this way, we're supposed to complete this part. Okay. Once you do this, as I said earlier, you can calculate the distance as well. So calculation of distance in a way that we can calculate the distance corresponding to longitude and latitude. So we have to just take a difference of these. So for that purpose, there is a standard functions which is available, which is Leversen function. For that, you need to install it. So that care you're supposed to take. This is one of the alternative which you can go for it and just simply apply a simple single linear regression. Okay, so this is all about the correlation part and everything. Yeah, the second part is, yes, which is mentioned in the database, that you need to find out the correlation among the features. So if I see the correlation, I found that all the elements are useful because they are highly, I mean, they are not so much related to other elements. If you see 0.0 to 0.01, this is the dark side, which you can see many of these elements are in that side only. So accordingly, you can take that decision correspondingly. Okay, so yes. And then the next part is applying the model. To apply the model, we have to convert it into your feature set and target values. We know that the X is all other remaining variable and the Y is the variable which we are going to predict. So that is a fair amount. And then we supposed to divide our training and testing sample. So here the test size is given 0.33. Accordingly, you can tell the students to change the test size and see the performance of the system. Then apply the linear regression model, which is already available in scikit-learn linear model. We supposed to import it and use it, fit the line, and correspondingly find out the equation. So if I see this value, then I'm going to get this linear coefficient corresponding to my input variable, right? So the prediction which I'm getting for this test samples are in this way, which is 5.47 up to this. So if I see this Y test, only the Y test variable corresponding to my element is I'm getting this. Okay, so this is my fair amount, which I'm getting for considering all the features as my X variables, and for my Y, I'm taking only the target variable. So this way I can do the calculation. So once you do this, then you're supposed to calculate the evaluation. So for evaluation, the standard score, R2 score, we're supposed to use. For that, we make use of scikit-learn metric uh, library. And here we specify the score corresponding to my prediction value, which I'm getting, and the y-test value, I'm getting it 0.66. And then correspondingly, we can calculate the mean square distance and the root mean square distance. So I'm getting over here is 3.15 my root mean square. So this is students supposed to do. Along with this, if they can make use of other evaluation metric, this is also very important, because ROC curve also they can plot for this assignment, but it is expected to understand what they are doing, what parameters they are using, how it is actually, it is being carried out in DSBDA. The basic part is already done. They know the functions, they know the parameters, but how they can use these functions, how can they make use of more analysis on the given data set, which is expected in this. The other part of the regression function is random forest function, which is ensemble, which is available in the ensemble classification method. Here we are supposed to take into consideration 100 trees, and then we have to just use of the random forest regressor, and correspondingly we have to take the y predicted values. So these are the, for the given input x, we are getting these my y prediction by applying this function. And if I see this metric evaluation for the random forest, which is used, I'm getting the evaluation corresponding to R2 score, I'm getting 0.79. If you see, it is more, in comparison with the linear regression. So you can tell the students to compare the performance of these two algorithms on the given data set by just plotting the graph. So this is very important. So I'm getting RMSE score is 2.47. Here I'm getting it is as 3.15. So this analysis is expected in the first assignment. Okay. I hope this first assignment is clear to you. Okay, I will take the questions at the end. Then the next assignment is on the classification method. So here we do have classification in two ways. The one is, sorry, is there any question?
Yes, any question?
Madam, I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, you have calculated the mean squared error, but not mean
Yes.
absolute error
Okay,
in
sir.
regression.
Yes, sir. That's what I said, that you can use other evaluation metrics as well. But those which are mentioned in the slide, in the assignment list, which is implemented here. But you can explore, you can tell students to explore other evaluation metrics as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So let's move to the assignment 2. The classification methods which are given in the machine learning syllabus in binary classification as well as multi-classification. But here in the assignment, we have given only binary classification, where email spam detection, that is supposed to be that is what the case study is given, where they're supposed to have it contained two classes. The one is spam class, the other one is not spam class, and students supposed to make use of k-nearest neighbor and support vector machine for classification, and analysis of the performance is expected. The email CSV file is also mentioned, also given in the assignment itself, which student can refer. Assignment 2, yeah, it's very simple assignment. Okay, yeah, so the basic libraries and everything you're supposed to use, that you have to import. Then the same thing which here also we are doing, we are reading the CSV file, making use of data frames and just displaying it. So there do have 5 rows. It is displayed over here, head only the top 5 elements. And there are 3002 columns because the email contents are given over here. How many times the particular word occur in the given email, that is specified over here. And at the end, we are having one column, which is a prediction column, which says the label, which has the label corresponding to these elements. Okay, so these are the columns. So total 3002 columns are there. Then we have to check whether it contains any missing value or anything else that we supposed to do. If it is there, and accordingly we have to take the action. Then we are making use of scaling. So scaling is also, it is recommended, or even you can use it according to, according to the content of the particular feature in the data set. So accordingly you can use it. So scale is a simple normal way of using it which is available in the pre-processing library. You can directly use it. Then we are splitting the data size into test size is 0.3. Correspondingly, you can see the performance. You can tell the students to check the performance, right? Now, KNN classifier, which is already, known to all of us. KNN is basically a supervised learning method, which is a lazy classifier, where what we have to do is, for the implementation purpose, as we are making use of scikit-learn library, we can simply use it from the scikit neighbors library. And here we can write the function corresponding to how many neighbors you are taking into consideration. So here 7 neighbors. So accordingly, you can see the performance by changing the neighbors as well, k size, k element. And then we have to predict it. So fit the line, fit the function and predict it. So if I see the functions, if I use the prediction, I'm getting these values. So that is my 0 and 1, that is spam and not spam category. And then I could get my KNN accuracy by just simply making use of this accuracy function, which I'm getting is as 0.80. right? And even it is also recommended to use confusion matrix. Yeah, it is also recommended to make use of confusion matrix to see the values, to analyze the values, to understand how the accuracy is calculated, to understand what is the precision, how it has been calculated, then recall how it is calculated. So it is recommended to use confusion matrix for all the algorithms. Yeah, then the next one is SVM classifier. The simple thing is that you have to just make use of SVC, where the regularization parameters considering one, which is a by default parameter. If you have not specified it, it will consider the by default parameters, fit your functions and predict it. And if I see the prediction, I'm getting the accuracy 0.93 in comparison with this 0.80. So these two methods comparison is also expected for students to plot in a single graph and see the how it is actually vary, which one is giving you good performance and what is the justification of it. So that is recommended to do by the student. So this is all about the second assignment. Okay, assignment 3 is neural network based classifier, which Arpita ma'am is going to explain. So I will move to the assignment number 4. Yeah, assignment number 4 is gradient descent algorithm, which is important to understand to students. This is the algorithm which is used to find out, to minimize the cost function. So in this case, we have given a simple function. They're supposed to apply for the function and have to minimize it to how do I minimize the particular line function? How can I minimize the cost function which is associated with the particular line function to its predictor line? So how it has been done, how the local minima is calculated. So this is very simple assignment students supposed to do. The function is given and the starting point is also given, which is x is equal to 2, right? So for this assignment, when we are trying to find out the step calculation, so in the step calculation, we know that the first order derivative is required. So if I see, if I take the derivative, I have to take the derivative like, so if I see this particular expression, so this expression is actually x square plus 6x plus 9. So if I have to take a gradient by calculating its first order differential equation, which I'm getting it as 2x plus 6. So this is my equation corresponding to value of x is equal to 2. I have to take into consideration the learning rate and just apply the formula of learning rate minus, what I supposed to do is x value, which is my initial value, which I am taking into consideration. So my next value would be my step to be carried out, or step to move, which is nothing but x minus whatever the learning rate, which I'm taking into consideration, multiplied by this particular function by putting the initial value to it. My initial value is 2 minus 4. So this is my new value. So here I'm again putting my initial value. So this is my new value of x1. So correspondingly, you have to calculate for x2, x3 for the some number of iterations. And we have to analyze how this value is changing from its earlier value to the end value. So what I'm doing is I'm just moving one step ahead, or stepwise, I'm changing the value of x1. I'm trying to reduce the cost function. So this is what the main importance of this particular algorithm, which has been implemented by using the simple calculation, which I just have explained. Okay, so yes. So what we have to do over here is, yeah. So as I said, the current value which we have supposed to take is x is equal to 2. Yeah, this is x is equal to 2. Then the learning rate. So if you take a learning rate small, it will give you the, it won't converge. It gives you step by step. So that's why it's always advisable to keep the learning rate small value. So you can you can start with 0.1 because it is not mentioned in the assignment, and accordingly and check the performance. And then this is what simple code which students supposed to do, where this is the one, yeah, current x minus learning rate into the differential functions on the previous x, that is 2x minus 3 in our case. Yeah, 2x plus 6, sorry, in our case. And then we have to accordingly update the value of current x. This value is supposed to use it for the next calculation. So this value becomes your previous value. So this is my step size, right? And accordingly, we have to go on doing this calculation for certain number of iterations. So here the iterations are mentioned as 10,000. You can just see the performance and accordingly you can decide the maximum number of iteration. And these are the values which we are getting. So X value 1.25, the iteration at X value 1.16 like this. So you will see how it is changing the value and accordingly you can plot the graph. So even in this case, now it is not visible. If you see the graph, you can directly see, I mean, you can see this particular, uh, the graph, though you can, it is very simple example, but it is expected to write a code to understand how it is minimizing the cost function, how the steps calculation is being done, what is the role of learning rate in this calculation. So this understanding is required for the students for this particular assignment. Okay, so this is all about the third assignment. Sorry, fourth assignment. So once you go with the fourth assignment, the next one is again, it is coming as k nearest neighbor algorithm only on the given data set, where the diabetes data set, which is already, I mean, well-known data set it is, and even the implementation is available for the, I mean, we'll just go through this implementation. K nearest neighbor is already, we have one assignment on this. Yeah, this is what the libraries which we supposed to include. Yeah, this is the columns, the features of the given data set. And these are no null values, so there is no extra efforts which we have to take. As I said, it's very standard data set. Then we have to split the data set after applying the scaling to this, and then you can directly make use of k nearest neighbor. Check whether the value, see the performance of this particular function by changing the value of k. So here k value is equal to 7 is being taken, then fit the function and apply the prediction model to it. Once we apply the prediction model, as I said, confusion matrix is required and accordingly calculate the accuracy. So along with this, you can even understand, or you can use this calculation and further analysis can be done by checking how many are misclassified. So by checking these two elements, then how many are correctly classified, and then taking its ratio to find out whether it is matching or not. So this extra analysis is required for better understanding of students, and this they're supposed to be done in the class, in the laboratory assignments. So based on this, calculate the precision score, calculate the recall score. I will recommend it to construct the ROC curve as well. And this is what the classification report. So that report also they can, visualize it and they can see the performance accordingly. Then the precision value, then macro average precision, which has already been discussed in the theory part of machine learning, and weighted average also need to be done for the classification method. So this is expected in the assignment. Okay. Yeah, then the last one is from my side is the sixth assignment, where, yeah, sixth assignment, as the assignment looks very simple to us, and it says that implementation of k-means clustering or hierarchical clustering on sales data. Here, the size of the data set is very large. So that's why we need to handle the data set. We need to use the appropriate method to form the clusters. So once the clusters are formed, the evaluation is also there. Okay, and there is another part which is mentioned in the given assignment is determine the number of clusters using elbow method. So students should understand what is an elbow method, how this elbow method is used, and what is the actual value of k value for the, how do we find, how do we see the k value? And if the k value is changing by elbow method, if the k value is, let's say 4, but if I'm using elbow method, I'm getting k value is equal to 4, then by take a random guess and take the value of k, check the performance and compare the performance of both the methods. So they will understand what is the importance of the method to use for finding out the number of clusters. So this is what is expected by the students to do in the assignment part. Now here the assignment is done different way. You can use hierarchical clustering as well. Yeah. Yes, so this is what the data set which we have here. 5 rows are displayed and there are 25 features of the given data set. Okay, description of the data set, information in the, in the data types, and what are the total number of entries in the data set is available. If I see or if I find out whether it is there are missing values, I'm getting over here is address line, then state is also there are a lot of missing values, then territories also is containing the missing values. So we need to handle these missing values. So as there are large number of missing values, we can directly drop them, because if they are not making any difference in making the decision, we can directly drop them. So it is dropped, and accordingly I'm getting these number of variables with not null values. Okay, and correspondingly these are the data sets or data types which are there of these features. Now here even you can check the categorical columns. If I see these categorical columns, what are the unique values which are there in the country, that also you can tell your students to verify or to see and to explore what is there. Then what are the number of product lines which are there, what are the deal sizes there. So these all things are expected to students should know this. After getting these categorical value, they have to replace this categorical value into the numeric value. So for that function, for that purpose, we can use these getDummies functions, right? And converting these categorical columns into numeric value. So this has been done. So this is very important to know, because we have to handle this and we have to give it to the model. So for that purpose, these values need to be converted. So that is there, and it is already covered in DSPDA part. So this is what expected. Okay, so once you do this, you will get these values of all the data types. And then the next part is how do we calculate the K value? Okay, so to K value, this is very standard way of doing this is by plotting this elbow plot. So elbow plot is basically the suitable value of K versus distortion. So if I see the distortion, it is nothing but an average of square distance from the cluster center of respective clusters. So what is how these values is actually having distance, or what is there? It's I mean, how far it is from the actual center of a cluster. So that is being calculated by calculating distortion, and this way it is plotted. So once you see this particular graph, we found that after 3, I'm getting it is as linearly decreasing, right? So in that way, we have to find out, we have to pick up the value when the curve is decreasing gradually. So here I could easily find out that K is equal to 3, where my curve is decreasing gradually. So this K value can be picked, and accordingly it is used in the K-means algorithm. Okay, so here it is being used, and the values or the cluster values are clusters are formed. Okay, so these are my 3 clusters: cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, and these are number of elements in the cluster. Okay, but to have its better visualization, you can even make use of different way of visualizing these components. So what we can do is, as we know that these elements uh, can be reduced or normalized. So these normalization, for better visualization, we can do it PCA as well, where we can convert all the features into 2 features. And then once you have a 2 features, then we can easily see the 3 different clusters. So for that purpose, if I do it, convert it into 2 features, 2 features, then I could get this, my elements. And if I see all the features, if I normally visualize it, I'm getting it in this form. But if I do it with the PC, I'm getting these as my 3 centers, which I'm visualizing it, or I'm explaining, I'm marking it in this particular column by using this particular parameter. And once I do it, what I can do is, it's completely recommended, but it is not compulsory to use this kind of visualization. You can visualize it. You can even check the performance of a system, and that is enough for this assignment. But if you want to do further, if you tell the students to further explore this assignment, try to visualize it in the cluster form. So if I see this particular thing, I could get it 3 clusters separately by applying suitable normalization method. So in a way, we can do this assignment. So this is what is recommended for this assignment, though it is not mentioned in the assignment clearly, but you can motivate, you can tell your students to visualize it by applying suitable normalization method to give a complete view of how the clusters are formed, how it is been, how these are related by using scatter plot, and this will be useful for the students for their better understanding. So this is all is expected in the clustering assignment. I think evaluation part I have not done for this, but it is referred. I mean, the evaluation is also important, and intrinsic method or extrinsic method can be used for the evaluation of this particular cluster. So you can see, or you can make use of purity function or any other measure to evaluate the performance of clustering uh, algorithm for this given data set. So this is all about first, I mean, these are all 5 assignments. And I would, yeah, important point over here is these all assignments we are using by using scikit-learn library. It is recommended to use. So for exam purpose, instead of giving, I mean, we should not give a complete access of internet to the students. We should give them some of the, what I mean to say that books or some of the references or some of the PDF or manual corresponding to these inbuilt functions or APIs to the students. And we can keep these manuals on every machines, and student can refer those manual. They can see the parameter, because it's not important and it's not I mean, it's not require them to mug the entire parameter list and everything. So it should be given to the students, but their understanding is important for implementing the assignment. So these manuals should be available to each and every machine when the exam for machine learning for LP3 is conducted. Okay, so this is what expected. They should not given the complete access of internet, because the assignments are I mean, they are available on internet, so there is no point to give them access. So instead of this, we can give them manuals, we can give them all the help related books which can be given to refer on their machine, so that they can refer the code. I mean, they can refer the parameter list of this particular function and they can use it. Even if they are making use of Jupyter, they would get it by just clicking on the help shift F1 or shift F2. They can see the function, they can see the parameter and can use it appropriately in the assignment implementation. So this is all expected for machine learning assignment. So please let me know if you have any questions in this first 5 assignment. The other assignment, like neural network assignment and mini project, Arpita madam will explain you in detail. So before that, if you have any queries regarding this 5 assignment, please let me know.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Miss Ashwini Jaradi from iSecurity.
Yes, madam.
Actually, I had lectures, so I missed some few of the previous assignments. So I request you to please share the videos if possible.
Sure.
And
Yes,
about
ma'am.
the last assignment, ma'am, you have used PCA. Is it mandatory to use PCA
Oh.
for
No, it is not mandatory, madam. It is not.
pre-processing?
No, it is not. It is not used for pre-processing. It is actually used for clustering. I mean, what we have done is we have number of features. Let's say there are 15 features for each data. I mean, the features are 15, right? So what we have done is we have reduced these features into 2 feature set, and for the better visualization of clusters. It's
Okay.
not required. It's not compulsory to make use of PCA.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, we have a parameter like learning rate. So there are a
Yes.
few more hyperparameters we have, right? So
Yes.
if I want to teach the student that how to set the hyperparameters to improve the accuracy, how it will be.
Yeah, yes, sir. With respect to gradient descent algorithm, as we are dealing this algorithm corresponding to, we don't taking into consideration different variations of gradient descent algorithm. So with reference to, I mean, regression, we supposed to tell them, and other in detail. I mean, as I said, if you take the larger value of your learning rate, you will get converge early, right? So for getting the local minima, it is always recommended to make use of a smaller learning rate value and accordingly use it, because it's very simple function which is given for the implementation purpose.
I want to see that. I want to show them how the hyperparameters affects your accuracy and how to tune them.
Yes, that you can do it by using different uh, values, you can, if I take a larger value, you can just explain them by plotting a graph and just putting how it converge and how it actually swap in. I mean, what I mean to say that step into the next case. That way you can explain, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am, this is Aarti. Can you hear me,
Yes,
ma'am?
madam. Yes, madam.
Yeah, actually, initially I had some audio glitch.
Oh.
Shall I? Can we make all the assignments which have been prescribed in the syllabus on the collab, or shall we
Yes.
need to install
Anything.
the?
No, anything. Collab will also do as or Jupyter.
Yeah, if I do it with a collab, because even I am into the field of machine learning. So collab,
Okay.
I know the features of the collab and what would be the
Yeah.
advantages of. So shall I continue students giving the same platform?
But the exam point of view, we have to take a common decision, madam. So in that case, if they do it on Jupyter, that would be the better part, because everything we
Okay.
have to take. Yeah. So for the
Yeah,
implementation,
that's fine.
I don't think a collab is
I
always
will
acceptable.
parallel students collab.
Yeah. Sorry, I have. Can you repeat?
Apart from the Jupyter, we can give the parallel platform also.
Yes.
Like collab, we can
Yeah.
integrate and show it.
Yes.
All right, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you.
madam. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, madam. Because
Thank
only
you.
the problem with this is they have to use and access an internet for that. So that is the major difficulty. Yeah.
And later on,
Yes, madam.
during
Yes.
Hi, madam.
will be a-
Hi, this is Rishikesh from Amrutwani Engineering College.
Yes, sir.
The discussion I want to carry forward is like we can make use of Spider even during examination.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir. We
that
can
will be
use
more
that.
convenient than Jupyter or Colab.
Salil. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is recommended. Yes.
Yes, and one more thing is
it's-
regarding question number assignment number 4. That here you considered one small function. Can we change that
Yes.
function?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is, you can change the function. You can tell them to plot a graph. You can tell them what are the values of X, which are visualize it. Yes, it is
Okay.
recommended. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, what if we introduce the platforms like IDLE and Spider, or even we can go for the collab? Can we mix all these platforms so that students can get a good exposure?
Yes, madam. Student can use this platform. Only my concern is their exam. We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
to
Yes, ma'am.
see, we have to check on which platform they are going to give the exam, and correspondingly we can use it. If Colab is used or the internet, because we need internet for that, and there are higher chances of getting copied from internet or from
Yes.
their own repository, created repository. So that's why we have to take into consideration all these points, madam,
Yes.
before taking
I
decision.
think regarding same thing, I think we can make use of Spider because
Yes.
we do not need internet for Spider. We can
Yeah.
pre-install all the libraries and packages. So for exam purpose, we can make use of Spider.
Yes, sir. Yes.
With the choice of operating system, are we we should go with a Linux and its derivatives, or we have an option of Windows? Here,
We should
how we can.
use open source, madam. I think we should go for
All right.
Linux. Yes.
That's fine. Then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I want to know from exam point of view, so that students can get everything should be in common in the SPPU. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank-
madam.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have given a very good insights. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, madam. Okay. I will hand over to now Arpita, madam.
Ma'am, there is a one request in chat box. Vijay
Yes.
Kumar Bhule sir basically post that request. Can you repeat first assignment?
You tell us, sir.
Yes, there is a time limit. Ma'am, within
Or what we can do is I will give you all the codes, sir.
Okay, madam. No issue. No issue.
You can refer to those codes and you can definitely, but it is recommended. I mean, you can just refer the code. For reference purpose, we can definitely give the code.
Okay, madam. No issue.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So on
Sir,
behalf of yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Bhushan, sir, I request to provide the recording, sir, because whatever points she discussed may not be there in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
code.
Okay,
So
madam.
please.
Definitely, madam. Presentation plus recording we share with all participants. No issue. Okay, so thank you, madam. So on behalf of Maratha Vidya Prasad Samaj Sanstha Nasik, Board of Studies, Department of Computer Engineering, Savitribai Phule Pune University, organizing committee, and all the participants. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, respected Dr. Yes Sonone Madam. Thank you, Madam, for your valuable time and all guidance, information shared for conducting machine learning practicals subjects. So once again, we thank you for being with us. It has been great pleasure, Madam. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you so much, Bhushan sir, and thank you organizers and all participants.
Okay, it's again my pleasure to introduce today's third eminent personality, Arpita Gupta Madam. So Arpita Gupta Madam, welcome. Arpita Gupta Madam is the founder of the Let the Data Confess Private Limited, where her vision is to bridge the gap between classroom concepts and industry requirement. So by providing professional guidance to individuals, she has changed countless lives through her guidance and mentorship to other data science scholars. She has completed her post-graduation from BITS Pilani. Her post-graduation research paper focused on concepts of AI and deep learning. She further decided to venture into the field of data science professionally. So currently, Arpita Gupta Madam has 4+ years of work experience of working as a data scientist and a researcher. So Arpita Gupta Madam now primarily focus on her entrepreneur venture, which involves supporting and mentoring data science aspirants. So welcome, Madam, and thank you for accepting our invitation and give your valuable time. So I request Arpita Gupta Madam to continue with the session. Yes, Arpita Ma'am.
Hello, can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
hear me? Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for introducing me, and thank you everyone for joining the session. I'm going to cover today all assignments that will be there in the neural networks. So for that, I'm going to share my screen and let you know. I'll suggest you to do one thing that I am also covering from that place itself, that all the data sets in the use case study that we are going to discuss here are actually very good use cases in the neural network, and there are multiple possibilities that we can explore from there. So I will recommend everyone that not just what I'm going to discuss, you guys can explore more and ask students to work on that itself. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me go to the assignment. Assignment third was remaining as ma'am had discussed. So that I'm going to discuss first. After that, I'll discuss the mini projects and the case studies that we are going to cover. Where was? Just give me a second, please.
So just wait. Madam, login again.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I think I was disconnected in between.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, no problem. Wait, I'll share my screen again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I was explaining this problem. If you notice this statement that this problem, I'm not sure if how much you have heard before disconnecting, so I'm repeating again. So this problem actually faced by the almost every company. So it has a very practical uses right now in almost every company. So in this we are going to understand based on the different customers need, or I would say employees need, based on that those which are the people who are actually going to exit from a particular bank, or which are going to stay. So actually this thing that who is going to stay and who is going to leave, it depends on multiple factor, that how much is the tenure, what is their age. Okay, if there is age is like at the retirement, then they might be more tending to leave the company based on the credit score, geography, lots of factors actually matter in this use case. So we are going to discuss that how these features are actually going to affect the whole prediction and normalize training data set, and then build a neural network based classifier to determine that if a particular person is going to leave in next 6 months or not. So because basically this data set has been taken from the Kaggle. I was discussing this point only, that if you're going to work on this or any of the problem that was mentioned in the syllabus, I'll suggest you please refer this code or refer the Kaggle. I am assuming that you are already aware, as you all are faculties here. So in the code sections, there are many people who have written very, I would say, nice codes in terms of feature engineering, in terms of implementation wise, and because neural network is more towards experimentation, so you can check out other codes and see what works well in a particular problem. Okay, so let me explain you through the one problem that one person has solved based on that. So first we will read the data. So if there is any CSV file that was given offline, it depends on the how it is written in the CSV or in the Excel. Based on that, I'll use the pd.read CSV and read all the factors that were mentioned in the data set, like customer ID, surname, score, geography, gender, age, tenure, balance, products that they have estimated salary, and if they exited or not. This exited or not will be a target that we have to classify, or I would say predict. This class we have to predict. So first what we'll do is we will divide it into two X and Y columns, as we have the problem as mentioned. Read the data set, distinct the feature and target data set, divide the data into training and test set. Okay, so this is what they have done, divided the data set into X and Y. And the next thing that we are going to do is we will check, or I would say, look, if there are lots of things, credit score is in number, but geography is in the text format, gender, age, tenure, lots of things are actually are in the form of numbers, and few are in the categories way, sorry, in the categories in the text data it is written. So we have to first convert into actually numbers. So this is called label encoding, and there are multiple methods to do encoding as well. In that we have selected the label encoding. You can ask a student to try out other encoding methods as well, because but every encoding method has their own limitations. So we have to check that for which particular problem which algorithm will work better. So you can see here, whatever was the text written, no, we have converted into number. Similarly, we can apply this label encoding to each feature which was mentioned here based on that. Okay. After that, once look, there are two ways to do it. When I'm doing the encoding, one way is I'll just apply on each encoding technique, like label encoding, where a technique where I'm calling the function, creating the object, and doing the fit transform on each column separately. Gender is there, country is there, right? So separately I can try, or I can write a very general function, and in that itself I can call each and every variable and apply this label encoding technique. Okay, so after that, once it is done, I can do one thing, print test display. And then in this also, there's just one thing we have to remember. Test size is generally taken 80-20 in the 80-20 ratio, but it's not compulsion. Sometimes 30-70 also work, but 99% cases test size is always taken, or 20%. Okay, so we have done the train test display. This is the third thing that we, sorry, second thing we have to do, 10, divide the data into 10 test day, normalize the train and test data. After that, we have to normalize the data as well. But there is one thing that we have to actually do in the normalization. Normalization is a step where we actually bring all the numbers to a certain particular range, to a certain range like 0 to 1 or 0 to 2, whatever are based on the data set, how much variation the data set has been done. So for here I am not showing that normalization, but after that we can apply the min max scalar to normalize the data. Once data is normalized, we can actually build the neural network model. So as ma'am said, most of the on the whole curriculum, Keras is being used for neural networks also. So it's like we have to import all those libraries from Keras, create a sequential model, and then add dense layers, dropout layers. In that, it's completely a playground that how many layers we want to add, how many dense layers we want to add, dropout, not dropout, and is there anything else of layer, any other layer has to be added before the fully connected layer. So last layer is the output layer, which will be the fully connected layer where we are going to apply the activation function. You can see it here. Once the classifier is built, we have to check the classifier summary, which will actually showcase you that how many layers are there, what is the output shape of each layer, how many parameters have to be trained. In that, if you see total 121 parameters and trainable parameters are also 121. In that, you can ask a student to do some other work like if what if we freeze some parameters and what if we keep remaining parameters to be trainable. So that also can be done with the help of Keras itself. After that, once the architecture is being built, we have to compile the network. It's like I have just designed the architecture of the house on the paper, and then I'm trying to build it completely on the actual ground. Okay, so this is after that we have to do the fit classifier dot fit. In that also hyperparameter tuning occurs when we pass extreme wide range, batch size, number of epochs, validation split, and verbose. So you might be wondering why validation split. We have already done the train trace training divide division. So actually what happens when train and test is splitted, after that also again train can be divided into validation set and train set, and the reason behind is it improves the training, or I would say testing accuracy, because every time when one epoch is being trained on a particular batch size, it will validate immediately. Test set we apply once the complete all the complete set in the one batch size is completed. Okay, so it's like it's a very easy, or I would say better option for a client side that keep a validation split as well. Verbose equals to 2 is kept actually to showcase the log here. Whatever log has been displayed, that how much is the loss after one epoch, two epoch, we keep the verbose. Okay, so this is the history that we can check. And once again, I forgot here. Classifier.fit I have already applied, right? This result that we have got, we can actually use for the prediction. You can see here, final loss is like accuracy is around 0.87. After that, you can do the testing. Here, for the testing, we have to apply, first we can plot the graph, accuracy epochs, you can see it is increasing, but after some time it's almost equal. After that, we can do the testing. We can apply classifier.predict on the test data set and predict a particular number or particular number of rows that we want to identify, that what will be the probability. But if you notice here, all it is showing is the probabilities, that if a customer is going to actually exit or not. So in that case, when we get the probabilities, we can apply some threshold that if the probability is greater than that, then I'll say that a person is will exit, or otherwise not exit. So you can see here they have kept the 0.5%, 0.5 as the threshold value. After that, we can see we can predict that okay, this customer is not going to leave or exit the particular company. So once all these steps are being completed, this will complete the whole classification problem. Here, the accuracy score we have predicted. Confusion matrix also can be created based on by passing the x test and x train parameters. Sorry, not x train and x test, y train and y test. Based on that, we can plot the confusion matrix. Okay, so this is there any doubt in this assignment?
Ma'am, can you please go through quickly again? Sometimes
Sorry.
can you go through the
Please.
notebook quickly again, please?
Notebook. Okay. Yes.
Please explain once again, ma'am. Just give it overview.
Hmm? Sorry, sir, I'm not able to understand. Please repeat.
Ma'am, participant said that he just explain these things once again.
Okay, this last one.
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
one? Which particular one?
Please overlook all these things just to explain here.
Okay,
And
okay. So I'm just giving a brief. First, you have to read the whole node, data set that is done by the pd.read CSV. That is the first problem statement. Okay, after the reading, we have divided x column and y columns. Okay, so you can see exited was our target, remaining was our x values. So I have divided x and y. After that, it was given we have to do the train test split, but before train test split, we have to do the encoding because there are certain features that were in the form of text. So we have applied label encoding to convert the text data into numbers. After that, once this is done, we have divided into train and test data, that is 80-20% data. Once train and test is being divided, after that we started building up the layers of the neural network. For that we will just initialize the neural network, then add layers one by one, classifier dot add, dropout we will add, and similarly we will add 2, 3 as much as possible layers one by one, and at the end when we will add the final layer, in that activation sigmoid function is used because it's a binary classification. Okay, and the output we will need 1, and it will be a dense layer. So you can see when you will create all the layers completely, after that you can see this architecture here. One dense layer, then dropout layer, then dense layer, then dropout, and then final dense layer, which is based on the activation function. After once these layers are done, we can compile the network and fit it on our train and test data. You can see here, this is a compiler that we have applied. In the compiler, we provide the 3 things. One is the optimizer, how our neural network has to be optimized, which method we have to use for the loss function, and the third one is the accuracy metrics, on which metrics this has to be evaluated. After that, we will check the history. That history means actually we fit it on our train and test data based on number of epochs, batch size, and the validation split. Okay, and once it is being done, I'll get my final accuracy on my trained data. After that, I'll do the prediction. You can see here classifier dot predict. Okay, and once the prediction is done, we will see that I'll get the result in the form of probabilities. But I did not want the probabilities. I wanted the classifier output, that is either 0 or 1. So in that case, I'll actually get the class after putting the threshold, that if the probability is 0. Greater than 0.5, then I'll say that it is class 1. It means the person exited, otherwise person does not exit. Okay, so you can see here all the classes are identified as a 0. It means the person did not exit. Okay, after that we have to create the confusion matrix y test and y pred. Okay, so what we can see what was a true positive, true negative, false positive, and false negative. Okay, you can see here that matrix we have to calculate. So this is how 5 questions of that assignments are completed. Now, do you have any questions for that? Now, is it clear or still there is any confusion here?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's clear. Thank you so much.
Okay. So this is the assignment. After that, we'll go to the mini projects and the use case studies. One second. Mhm. Yes, you can see here deep learning. There are any three assignment and one project are mandatory here in this deep learning. In this, I'll first explain the problem. Group one, they have kept one problem based on the linear regression. One is the classification. Okay, and the other two problems are based on the neural networks, that is CNN and recurrent neural networks. So I tell you one thing: in every deep learning or neural network related problem that we try to solve, either it will be a regression problem, it will be a classification problem, or the third one will be the pattern matching problem, which is kind of a clustering problem. Okay, so basically here this is how these assignments are divided in such a way that you will have a knowledge of like students will have a knowledge of linear regression, another will be the classification approach, and the next two network, that CNN and recurrent neural network, are important from an architecture point of view. So we have kept the two use case studies based on that. Okay, so if we first we see linear regression by the deep learning neural network, it has a Boston housing price prediction. So if you see the data set, no data set has lots of features to identify. So here feature engineering is very important. Once feature engineering done, then we can apply linear regression neural network based on that, because neural network actually helps in dealing with lots of features. So it will be a very good use case for the deep neural network. So in that we have to predict that what will be the price of a particular house after checking all of its features, like what will be the room size, area, location, and maybe number of rooms in that. So based on that we can decide. And the second one is the classification problem, which is like OCR letter recognition. This is also a very famous problem in neural networks, where we have handwritten digits are given either, or some number plates digits are given. So we have to identify that what is there in the what is written in that image. So this is in this image data set will be in the first problem, the data set will be in the form of Excel sheet. The second problem, the data set will be the image based. Okay, the letter will be image, and the second problem is neural network binary classification of movie reviews. So it is basically text data, which will have movies written on movie reviews written on one column, and another column will have a target, that is either movie was positive or negative. That was our label. Okay, so this will be the two problems that are based on the classification. The third problem is the convolutional neural network. In this MNIST, fashionist dataset and this OCR letter recognition are almost similar from a data point of view. We have to just actually apply here the basic neural network and here the convolutional neural network. Actually, in case of images, convolutional neural network works well because we need temporal and spatial information from each and every image. So we will see that also, where we have the images of different outfits and other related images, and we have to categorize them, that which clothing it is. And also similarly with the plant disease, in the plant disease we will have images of plant along with the information that if there is any disease on that particular plant. Okay, so both, because both the data sets are based on the images, so CNN works well in that case. The fourth one is the recurrent neural network, where we will have a Google stock price data set. So actually, what happens in the stock prices data set? The little bit knowledge of the past data is actually important, because if suppose if shares are going down for a particular company since a year, so there are like lot probability that share will be down only. It will not be increased in a minute, right? So here little bit amount of memory is needed. For that we use recurrent neural network. So these four problems I'm going to explain in very short detail. One by one I'm explaining. So I have explained the bank exit, right? So this is the house pricing with the neural network regression problem. So if you see, there is a data set that I think that has mentioned in that itself. So in which features, like what features have to be selected based on that. First we will actually check that what is the data set. This is the wrong app. I'll first explain you the digit recognition data set. Yes. So if you see in the digit recognition, actually there are lots of things are given. I'm just explaining you in the same way that we have explained the last problem. Because if you see here, digit recognition, there it is. Yes, in the OCR letter recognition, there's a digit recognition. We can use CNN or we can use deep neural network. But for our case, we have to use the simple neural network. In that case, that Y train will be given to us in the separate column, and apart from that, we have to separate it as an X train. That will be our mostly images, where we have to read the images, save the pixels in pixel intensity, and if there is any missing values, that also have to find. Normalize, reshape, encoding, same thing will be done. Splitting the data set, that will be done as it is. If you try to show that image, it will look like this. Okay? That there are certain pixels, and the pixels values will be saved in the form of two-dimensional array. This will be the difference. And if you see here, look, they have explained with the convolutional neural network. You don't need to go with the convolutional neural network. You have to just start or sexualize the model, neural network model, and build the layers in the similar way that we have done just before. So you can just keep adding the layers one by one, and after that, like compile the model with the same optimizer accuracy, and just start, or I would say the fit the model based on that. Here, one thing that may occur in between before we start to fit the model on the trained data and test data, we can actually augment the data because we will have an image data with us. So if we have the image data with us, then what we can do, we can apply the augmentation techniques in that we can rotate the image, crop the image, or I would say blur the image, zoom the image, so that with this we can create more and more images. The more data we will have, it will be actually helpful for us to train the model better. That we can do, and after that we can do fit here. You can see data then dot fit, and then we can apply it on the fit generator and check the accuracy. This is what people have to do in this multi-class. It will be the same for OCR and the fashion analysis. The only difference will be the CNN layers that we have to do. And in the CNN layer, if we want to add, then we have to add the pooling layer, we have to add the dropout layer, we have to add the filters that were already defined in the cards. Okay, and apart from that, movie reviews and also Google Photos, I'll also explain you in Google, in the Google stock price prediction, if you apply the RNN, you can see the data set that we have. We can get through the Kaggle. There are dates. What was the price when they were open? What was the highest price, lowest price, on what price they were closed? Okay, the adjacent close, and what was the volume? How many shares were purchased and lost? Based on that, what you can do, you can just first uh, filter out the train data set. Based on after train data set, you can apply min-max scalar. Here, min-max scalar is very important because the data variables are of very high range. After train test, you can apply, or sorry, you can divide it into X train, Y train, and reshape it and apply LSTM layer, or I would say regression layer, sorry, RNN layer with the LSTM, where you can see that what are the sequences, add dropouts to it, and then compile fit the model. And I was going to showcase you the time series. So one second. Okay, so this is a test data set. Once you will apply the fit node, you can actually predict. I was about to show you the graph. So after once you will start predicting, you can check the real price. What will be the predictive price? Depends on the previous data as well. So after that, you can ask the students to actually plot the graph based on the predictions that they have. So in LSTM layer, we have to just apply the sequence-based data. There is nothing else or additional have to be done from a core point of view. Okay, so this will be your RNN, convolutional neural network. I think I have explained almost everything. Use case study. One second. Is it fashion recognizer? I have already explained, right? It is exactly based on the way we have done the OCR, because both are based on the images. Same way we will read the image, augment the image, divide it into train and test data set, and then apply the CNN or basic neural network to that. You can get the image, this plant disease detection data set also on the Kaggle, and in that you can add these many layers if you are applying it with the convolutional neural network. You can add convolutional neural network, sorry, conv layer, then activation, then batch normalization, max pooling, dropout, and then again. So these layers will create a one. These functions will create a one batch of layer. So similarly, you can add as much as possible based on the number of data sets. So if you notice linear regression, classification, convolution, and the recurrent neural network you can design. Now, when you see mini projects here, human face recognition, gender and age detection, and colorizing old black and white images. First image is actually, I would say, all these three projects are based on the images, where we are going to take the image, classify it. So it is not directly based on the classification or regression approach. It's more based on the approach that I was talking about, that is pattern recognition. So if you want to recognize a human face, in that case you have to take an image as an input, divide it into different number of pixels, and then those pixels will be trained to actually identify the number of, based on the label, that what was the label, if there is celebrity face that we need to identify, and gender and age also that should be given in the data set, that okay, it is identifying based on the wrinkles, based on those features will be captured from the CNN network. And you might be wondering how to capture those features or how to do the feature engineering in this. This is the beauty of neural networks or deep learning, that you don't need to provide the external features separately. What you can do is take the filters basically. In the convolutional neural network, there is a concept of filters. You can take up the filters, and based on those filters, it will automatically identify that which age or gender it will be. And similarly, human face, which face it will be, depending on the curves lines, depending on the blur and sharpness of at particular point. Based on that, it will identify. So this is all we have to do in our project sections. One more thing I would like to say: every project you can get on the Kaggle, you can get multiple notebooks for the same. You can try out based on that which will be the best suitable for the use case, or I would say which will give the better accuracy. So is there any doubt so far? I can cover up, because it's not practically possible to cover all the use cases in the detail. If you want, I can share the particular notebook which they have implemented, which people have implemented separately, and you can take help there.
Yes, ma'am. You share the notebooks. We will play around and we will get to know. We will explore the things.
Sure.
Yes, any questions? Any doubt? Yes, Arpita madam, anything else?
No, sir, I'm done from my side.
Uh, yes, participant. Any questions, any doubt regarding machine learning? Okay, madam. I think there is no question. So I am really gratified for giving me a chance to deliver out of thanks speech to such an eminent expert. So on behalf of Maratha Vidya Prasad Samaj, Nasik, Board of Studies, Department of Computer Engineering, Savitribai Phule Pune University, organizing committee and and all the participants, I pass my warm thanks to respected Arpita Gupta madam. Thanks a lot for giving us a precious time in your busy schedule. You really added value to conducting machine learning practicals more effectively. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for inviting me. I'm just dropping off. I'll share the notebook with you and you can share it with the faculties.
Arpita ma'am, could you share your contact details, please? If you stuck around somewhere we are not able to understand, then we can contact you in that case.
Yes, sir. One second. You can connect with me on that itself, or if you want, you can connect me over the LinkedIn as well. I've shared my details. If you want to connect for any problems or doubts or if whatever I have explained, please let us know. Thank you so much, sir. I'm dropping off now.
Thank you, madam. So, all participant here with I am sharing attendance link for machine learning session. So please fill it. Thank you. And next session, we will start within a 5 minutes. So we will take 5 minutes break here. Okay. After 5 minutes, we will start the next session. Okay, there is some updation in instructions. We will start next session on 2:15 p.m. sharp. Okay. Next expert join sharp at 2:10 and we will start with 2:15.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was asking this attendance link we got in the chat box. Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. No issue. I also share this link in WhatsApp, sir. No issue.
तुला जसं अडचण तर थांब नाही तर परत मला उद्या ऐकू नको पोरांनी हे केलं पोरांनी ती केलं
Yes, all participant. Any doubt, any question, please ask. If no, then mute yourself.
हॅलो. नाटक करायची. हा. अरे ते राजा किती म्हणते. हा.
Yes, Ganesh sir, any doubt?
तिथं टाकी टाकायची का नाही तिथं एक राहिले आणि वरची भिंत एक लागली आणि वरी 2 एक्सिबिट लागणार. तर मागो 500.
Yes, Ganesh sir, any doubt?
500 मागवायची. ठीक आहे. हा. तू राजाला फोन करून की राजाचा नंबर नाही तुझ्याकडे. नाही म्हणते त्याला ती वेळ लावते. कशाला मागायला होती. किती म्हणतोय. किती म्हणतो.
तुम्हाला तुमची रेसिपी आहे ना माझी पण द्या ना. तुमची प्रोटीन तुम्हाला काही द्या.
Hello. Shailaja ma'am, are you there?
Hello. Yes, ma'am, I've joined the meet.
Okay, yes ma'am. So the next session on assignments of blockchain technology of laboratory practice 3 will be conducted by Shailaja Lohar ma'am. So ma'am is working as an assistant professor in JSPM's Rajashri Shahu College of Engineering, Pune. Ma'am is having 11 years of experience. She is research scholar at SKN COE Vadgaon. Her area of research is identity management in IoT using the blockchain. So ma'am, I request you to proceed with the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Manisha, ma'am, for the introduction. Just share my PPTs. Are the PPTs visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good afternoon to all. So myself, Mrs. Shailaja Lohar, and I will be conducting the session on the blockchain technologies assignments in the newly designed syllabus of BE Sppu computers for this year. Blockchain technology assignments under lab practices 3. So the assignment list, can just anyone acknowledge if the change slide is visible?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
ma'am. It is visible.
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you. So under group C, the blockchain technology assignments are designed. 6 assignments are there totally, out of which any 5 will be compulsory, and 4 mini projects are there, out of which 1 mini project is necessary. So starting with the assignments, the mini projects are totally on use cases, they're application based. When we talk about blockchain technology, if I give a very short introduction, if I have to give, it's a distributed ledger, which is much more secure than a distributed database. Okay, so why do we call it is much secure? Because it is completely implementing the decentralization of the shared shared databases, or we can say shared values of any kind of application. So we are eliminating the centralized process through blockchain. Now, if you go according to the theoretical syllabus, already in that too, we have introduced the introduction to blockchain. Then there is Ethereum and solidity programming. I think it's in 3rd and 4th unit. I had worked with the team of syllabus design too for the theory. So in the last 2 units, we have tried to cover up the programming language related to blockchain, so that if it's covered in the theory, it will be easier for the students to study the practical related to it. Now, when we talk about the assignments related to blockchain, it's not like a simple programming language which we learn and we implement directly the related programs in the same language. This particular technology will need a combination of things. Okay, so what is that combination? I will first explain. Now, the very first thing is we will be using some kind of network, some private block, some public blockchain on which we can deploy or develop the programs of our syllabus of LP3. Now, the most important part is there are 2 to 3 blockchains which can be implemented, but the one which we are choosing for our assignments is only the Ethereum network. Why Ethereum? I'll explain first. So Ethereum is giving us a access to a very easy programming language, that is Solidity programming, and it can be implemented through its own compiler, that is Remix IDE. It can be directly installed on your web browser. You can directly work on that compiler. And the concepts or the constructs of the programming language are very similar to that of Java or object-oriented programming. So that will be much easier for students to understand. Now, very first thing we try to make the first assignment just about the installation and studying the blockchain
part practically. Why? Because starting away directly with Solidity programming language or the programs related to Solidity would not be feasible until and unless the background or what exactly is needed to execute the programs on a blockchain is understood. See, when the respective faculties will go with the theoretical subjects, they will have to explain right from the traditional use of blockchain, that was Bitcoin. But from Bitcoin, now it has switched on to multiple domains. Blockchain is into multiple domains now. But when we talk about how Bitcoin was tested or how Bitcoin programming is done, that is completely different from the other domains. If I want to use blockchain, I have to pay for that. So that is a basic funda, that when you are trying to use something on the blockchain or you want to deploy something on the blockchain, you need to spend some amount of money. Now, what exactly, how will we simulate this into a virtual blockchain? Because ultimately we are not actually spending money in doing the assignments, but what is the point where we have to simulate exact scenario that if I am using a blockchain for any domain, how do I spend a certain amount of money on that? So for that purpose, MetaMask was introduced, which is a extension. Just like we add extensions to our browser of the ad blocker, for example. It is a similar kind of an extension you have to install on your Google Chrome, okay, or even on the Firefox. But it works fast on Google Chrome. So in the existing browser systems, you have to add the extension called MetaMask. It's simple. You go to the Play Store and simply add this extension. Now we have the extension. Now how to proceed with it? So we need, but what is the main aim of using MetaMask? As I explained right now, that I want to spend some currency for that blockchain. So Ether is that currency which MetaMask will give you. It's called as Ether. We are talking about Ethereum blockchain. So the currency in this blockchain will be called as Ether. Now the installed MetaMask gives us an Ethereum virtual wallet. What the virtual wallet is? Simple. I want to perform some transaction. I want to spend some money on it. I have a virtual wallet in which Ether is my money and I'm spending it through my wallet. That is the simplest concept you can define for this. Next part is the Remix IDE. It's a platform to create and deploy smart contract, and it supports Solidity. Solidity is the programming language used for creating the blockchain programs. Rather, whatever you want to implement in blockchain can be done through Solidity. Okay, that was the basic thing which is used in the Ethereum virtual machine. Now, creating a decentralized platforms. Now we go to the prerequisites for creating this environment. So adding MetaMask extension to the default browser will be your first step. Second will be creating a wallet through test network Rinky. Now this second point will also cover your second assignment of creating a wallet. Okay, because ultimately what you are doing is you are creating or you are installing a background. You are creating an environment of blockchain in your existing PC itself. Existing PC. It can be your standalone PC or your laptop. Third is currency needed for the blockchain, that is Ether. Now this fourth point, Rinky gives this Ether. Now Rinky is one of the test networks available to us from the blockchain Ethereum. There are multiple test networks given to us by the blockchain. Why test networks? Because you are going to be part. When you create a program, you will be a part. Your program rather will be a part of that blockchain. So you will be the part of that block. So there is a network which maintains these kinds of blocks. So Rinky is one of the networks which is giving you Ether, that is 8.75 Ethers per 3 days. Now see, these are the predefined values by respective networks. When we talk about these values, means what? Whenever you execute one program, some of this ethers will be spent. Okay, it will be spent. Means it directly you will get a message that these many ethers were spent from your wallet. And when you go on developing programs in this, ultimately your wallet goes to zero. Obviously, when there is a limit of 18.75 ethers, it will naturally nullify after you execute multiple programs in it. So after that, these ethers will be spent and you will be able to see that now you have to switch on to next network. Okay, so this is the basic idea of how the blockchain will be used. The second point is smart contract in Solidity language on IDE Remix. IDE Remix is a simple integrated environment. It's a tool through which you can directly write the program. Now, before going to what exactly the program is, the blockchains are the basic idea behind the smart contract. So instead of going to the theory, the simple concept and diagram I think will be much more useful to understand what exactly we mean by the smart contract. So it's a set of digital codes that is used to exchange assets, including shares, money, property, without need or any intermediates to function. Now, the simplest example I would like to give is a person wants to rent a flat and he wants to, and the owner of the flat will make an agreement for the same. Someone has switched on the mic. Please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. So, if a person is renting out a flat, he and the owner has to uh, come through an agreement. And what an agreement is, it is something that is notarized. We write it on a stamp paper. So it is notarized. Now, this notarization is the third party or the third part in your contract or your agreement that yes, these are the rules the renter has to follow, and then only he will be given the flat for the rent. Now, contract is something which acts like an agreement between two or more parties. The only difference is it will completely eliminate the third party between the agreement. What the smart contract will do, as shown in these steps, a party codes the smart contract. Both parties finalize the rules. Okay. Just now, as in the renting example I explained, the contract goes live in its it is stored in the ledger. Now, what is our ledger? Ledger is that part of the blockchain, I would say integral part of a blockchain, which is updated by each block of your blockchain. It's replicated on all the blocks in the blockchain, but the ledgers, who is going to update the ledger will be decided by the mining algorithms. So ledger is a copy. You can call it as a register, which is used to maintain all the updated transactions. So this contract will be stored on our ledger. The contract is automatically executed when a condition is met. So there is certain condition specified in your smart contract which will be met, and then your smart contract will directly be executed. So what are the benefits of the smart contracts? Firstly, we are securing your authentication of two parties. It's autonomous, that is completely uh, in the charge of its owner, interruption free, that is no third parties come to validate the contract. This trustless, we don't have to keep it on some other centralized server for the trust issues. Cost effective, we are not deploying anything extra for the deploying a smart contract, and a faster performance. And the use cases are also nicely given in this diagram. That's why I included this diagram in it, that the government voting system, supply chain management, mortgage system, record storing, real estate, and insurance claim. Now, as at the start of the session, I told you all that the domains are wide and vast of blockchain. So these are some of the domains where smart contracts will be used. So now we go to the actual look of how smart contracts look on your PC. Now on this image, if you see at the top right corner, you see this image of MetaMask. Okay, so this is when you install the extension in your PC. You simply click it and your test network is connected through your PC, means you are connected to your blockchain. Now see, for this part, I had actually completed the previous processes, and after that I got this ether of 18.74 in my wallet. Okay, now here on the left hand side you can see the account details. Here is the ether, how much ether is there in your account, and these are the transactions, history of the transactions which you are going to start in your blockchain. Now here top corner you can see Rinkibi test network. Now if you drop down this list, there are multiple networks as Rospan and etc. You can select any one of them. For testing purpose, we have selected Rinkibi test network. Then this is how your blockchain will look when a contract is executed. Okay, why I have added all these screenshots, because understanding it theoretically and understanding it with actual visualization of how it actually looks on your screens is much better understanding. You understand many minute concepts related to the execution. Now the first part, if you see, observe over here, transaction hash codes are again an integral part of blockchain, because every block is connected to each other through a hash. One block has a hash of previous block. It is connected in that way. Okay, and hash actually it comes from the basic of Merkle root tree, from where the hashes are generated. Hashes are very important because that makes the blockchain very strong. If a third party wants to intrude between the blockchain, he cannot, because he cannot change the hashes. Every time there is a transaction change, the hash codes are changed. Okay. Then there comes the status, that is whether the contract was successfully executed or not. Then the block. Now see, you can see the number of the block. It's a random number allocated, and how many blocks and how many transactions are going on simultaneously. When we are talking about using the Ethereum network, there are number of users on that network, which are they are continuously using that network. They are using the multiple test networks like Rinkibi, and they are trying out their smart contracts or their other options or programs on it, and continuously your blocks are appended in your blockchain. So you can see the vastness of this whole technology, that how many people are directly working on that chain, as well as their data is secured on that chain. Okay, from the hash code also we cannot access anyone's data. Okay, so that is very much clear, that though this is publicly available, anyone can look at this with this simple URL. You can see the URL in this. Okay, now this Etherscan is a window which will tell you the details about what all things you have performed. Okay, then from and to. So from which network this was generated? Again, there is no name, there is just a hash code. To means your contract ID. Again, contract ID is hash generated. You don't have to name it specifically. What were the ether spent? Here the transaction fee shows you the ether spent. Okay, it's in points now. And gas limit is how much of the money was spent, how much of it was actually executed, used by your executed program. So these details are very important to learn, because this is how is the simulation of Bitcoin done through the Ethereum blockchains. Okay, because when it was, if we would talk about 6 to 7 years back, blockchain was only related to Bitcoin, nothing more than that. But now, if even I write a simple program, the normal BE projects which our students do, even if they try to do it on blockchain, how much secure they will get their project. So that is the way these blockchains are implemented in various platforms. Then the transaction fee, gas used by the transaction, gas price. Nonce is a this is a unique ID generated by your block. This identifies that block in the transaction, and the input data. Now this is generated from the smart contract. Okay, when the smart contract is executed, we give certain values. Like suppose if we are designing the smart contract for banking. So if I'm giving some values for deposit in the account. So what value I had entered over here, that will be your input data. Okay, so that is the simplest way to understand how the blockchain works. Now, this is a part when we create your own wallet. How did we create the own wallet? We had actually installed the MetaMask, and then we had one more thing. We can also do this same thing on your mobile phones also. Okay? Because nowadays your capacity of the mobile phones is also better, good. So this can be implemented even there. So it is supported by iOS and Android, both the operating systems. Now, creating the wallet using MetaMask, this is a part of second assignment. Uh, see, instead of going only for theory, wherever theory is necessary, I have tried to include it in the slides. Apart from that, wherever I could show you what exactly is happening on your screen, I'm showing you that. So don't worry, I will share whatever material I have to, so that you can have the data to share with the students and for your understanding purpose also. So MetaMask installation. Now again we go 2 steps back when we say that how do we bought the Ether? What was the steps to buy the Ether? Now navigate to the extension icon in the top right corner. That is, I showed you this icon, MetaMask. Only one thing is that if I'm talking something and it's not reflected in the slide, please someone of you ensure that you inform me that the slide is not changed, because that will be no point if I'm going on talking and the slides are not visible to the participants. So right now I am at new to MetaMask slide. So navigate to the extension icon in the top right corner of your web browser and click Get Started. Now, when we click the Get Started icon, you are given with the two important blocks over here. They ask you whether you are new to the MetaMask. No, I already have a secret recovery phrase, or yes, let's set it up. So when you click yes, let's set it up, you are actually creating a wallet for yourself. Means you are trying to include your block into the blockchain by buying some amount of money, that is some amount of ether. And the first one will be in the case that you have already bought the wallet and you have your recovery phase. Phrase is actually they have given a added security mechanism. They generate a phrase of random words and tell you to copy that word somewhere safely, so that if you lose some data, if your blockchain is not accessible, you can use for recovery of your blockchain. So once we have completed with the above steps, you will be able to use your new MetaMask wallet. So there are two main components you need to familiarize yourself with so that you can begin using the software. So identifying the public address, this is the address you can freely share with people or platforms like exchanges. Let me show you that address. Here, when you say account, okay, your account, below that you will have a address generated, which is this address, that is identifying your public address. Okay, so you can share it for someone to see what exactly you are performing on your blockchain. Then it's always advisable, however, to check or to make sure any inbound tokens are compatible with MetaMask before receiving them. Otherwise, they might be lost forever. So whenever you are into the actual processing in the blockchain or actual creation and deployment of smart contracts, you have to verify the valid authentication ID only. Okay. So how to fund, buy and send? So these are the core functions of MetaMask. So buying ethers, see, one thing you should note down is once you have bought an ether and it has shown you that it's valid for some days or some time limit is given, till then you cannot buy new ethers. You have to first utilize the existing ether and then only you have to go for buying the other ethers. Okay. So utilizing that, after the time limit, those elapse, you can't use that ether and then you have to create again a new wallet. See, you can locate your unique MetaMask public address by clicking the account button. It's shown by the black arrow. Finally, in order to begin interacting with Ethereum platform, you will first need to fund your MetaMask wallet with the amount, and all actions on the blockchain cost a fee. So as I told you, blockchain was actually designed in keeping in mind the cryptocurrencies. So continuing with that foundation of the technology, still we need to pay some amount, or you have to pay some ether for this usage of blockchain. Okay. So whether that's moving token from A to B or creating an NFT collection, and this fee is called as gas fee, as I showed you in the previous snapshot of Etherscan, where the gas fee is displayed. So how much you choose to fund your wallet depends on how much you intend to interact with various platforms. Now, for our purpose, if we talk with the perspective of our syllabus, we are going to use it for simple programs created and deployed through smart contracts. So you will be requiring a small amount of the ether. Now comes the next important part, that is the smart contract in Remix IDE. It's a powerful open source tool that provides the ability to develop a smart contract from a browser. So as I told you, it's similar to the JavaScript, the terminologies and all. Solidity, I will share also a book for the basics of Solidity programming language, through which uh, everyone can refer, the faculty also and the students, what are the basic programming concepts, because today we have some time limit in which the Solidity also cannot be covered. So that's why I'm showing you only the important parts for that. So the pragma solidity, the version, and the contract's name. It starts with the keyword contract and the name of the contract. Rest is the data members of your program. So in this case, it's client ID, account, address, balance in Ether, and an array. So this will be the basic of a smart contracts remix ID. To assign an ID to each client whenever they join the contract. So we define an integer counter and set it to 0 in the constructor of the contract. Now here what we are doing is we are allocating some kind of value to a counter to identify if a client is joining the chain. Okay. Now in bank contract, we have taken the example. Wait a minute, I will show you the code. So that will be much clearer. See, compilation, one more thing is important. Deployment of smart contract means what? When we create the smart contract, same like our under any other programming language, we have to compile it. Once it goes error free, we have to deploy it, means we have to send this or we have to keep it on our blockchain. Okay, so deploying the smart contracts means what? We have to put it on the blockchain. Now this is done through the Ether and no, sorry, the MetaMask and your smart contract. Wait a minute, I will just show you the main code. I had given a hyperlink over there, but hyperlinks cannot be, the document through the hyperlink will not be shared through the Teams. So just give me a minute, I will share you the file itself. Okay, is the Word file visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So this file is showing us the third assignment, that is for bank account of a customer for deposit, withdraw, and show balance. More or less, these are the guidelines which I am giving, through which you can either add more modules in it or modify as per your requirement. So again, the smart contracts creation with its member is shown in the first part. Then the clients, who are the clients or who are the people in this whole scenario, that will be done through this. For only clients means for the people who are adding their or modifying their balance. See the constructs and all, it's all about solidity programming, which we can refer from the book. It's very easy. You have to directly use functions. Similar functions are used as we use in our JavaScript language. I told you it's more or less object oriented. So constructor, everyone knows what a constructor is. So I need not explain that. The constructor, the client, the functions, like one which is written over here, receive, all these are similar to JavaScript. Only the thing part important over here is that when we create the clients, and use the dot operators over here, this will be calling the means we are creating a smart contract function. So it will not be called as a normal function. It will be a smart contract. And when I say message dot sender or dot balance, this will be connected to your blockchain addresses. Okay, so ultimately here the blockchain addresses will be replaced and this will be deployed on your blockchain. Okay, and normal functions whichever I want, that is amount into Ether, then interest, how to calculate the interest, and how to add data or subtract the data or balance from your account. All these things will be done through your normal functions. Now this operator is used over here, the public, private, all these things are related to JavaScripting language. So I will share the required resources for this also. You can please all go through that to understand the basic concepts which differ from JavaScript to Solidity. Go back to our slide. Just give me a moment. Okay, is the slide visible now? The final state of smart contract?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. The compiling the smart contract. So after finishing it, see here the bank contract.sol. SOL is the extension for the smart contracts created through Solidity programming. So we again compile it in the same Remix IDE environment. It's a very easy IDE. All the options are menu driven. You can directly click and execute your smart contracts. Okay. So when we go to the compiler section of Solidity, this is how it looks. We select the compiler version. It's not difficult. You can select the latest one. Then which is the language? Obviously, we have selected Solidity, the compiler, that is EVM compiler by default. Okay. And you directly click compile bank contract.sol. Now you deploy it. Okay. So that is the important part. I was just explaining you how to deploy it. Now the option is clear to you, deploy and run transactions. So the Remix IDE presents various opportunities to deploy smart contracts into various environments. And now we are using JavaScript VM because we have used Solidity. Our language is similar to script language, JavaScript language. Now the account, you already have created an account for this. Okay, so you have some amount to spend. After execution, it has decided that this much amount, okay, the gas limit is the ethers conversion that will be needed. The contract name, and you directly have to say deploy. When you click on deploy, your program will be directly connected. Your smart contract will be directly deployed on the blockchain network, that is Ethereum. Okay, and this will be connected to which wallet? The wallet we have just created a few steps back. Okay, so the wallet with the ID of your wallet will be connected to this smart contract, and it will take the ether, that is that amount of money from my wallet, and then start executing my smart contract. So this will be the whole process of how to how to install the MetaMask extension, how to create a simple smart contract in it, how to deploy the smart contracts, and observing how the gas value is there. Gas value means what? In short, how the money spent is changed. And you can directly go after execution of this. The interesting part is after you execute this program, go back to your MetaMask main page, where it was showing you the number of ethers. First it was 18.75. Now you will directly see it reduced to some 15 or 14.73 or 72. Why? Because a certain amount of your ether has been spent in the execution of this smart contract. So ultimately you understand how your blockchain is working with the help of smart contract. So deploying a smart contract, the JVM script, there are other two given, injected Web3 and Web3 provider. These are implemented in the cases when we are developing a full use case scenario. Then the accounts, see the ethers in the accounts are given. The only account you own will be shown over here, and you can select from that account. So after setting the environment and account, we are all ready to deploy it. So we click the deploy button. And after deploying, see, this is the screen you will see. You can carefully observe this. The status is shown. The true transaction is mined and execution is succeeded. Then transaction hash is shown. So whenever a block is added in your blockchain, a hash is generated. I just explained it. And that is this hash, a randomly generated number. Then the contract address, identifying it uniquely, from which test network it was done. So from is there. 2 means your back contract, name of their constructor where we have initialized everything. Then the gas value, that is how much was utilized. This you will get in these 3 steps: gas, transaction cost, and execution cost. So execution of the blockchain and transaction of the blockchain, 2 different things. And for both the things, there is some ether spent. Okay. So that way you are going to use your smart contract. So deployed contracts will be shown in your Remix IDE. So bank contract with the memory address, this, that is the hash code, this will be shown in the subsection. Now see, run the transactions, call the functions that compound the smart contract deployed. So these were the functions in it. As I told you, whichever functions you had created, it will be shown to you like buttons, and you can directly click it and add whatever amount you want to add, subtract, whatever functionality you have set with that function will be shown to you directly through this IDE. That's why this IDE is called a strong IDE. One of the powerful IDEs. It eliminates it reduces our work of designing everything from scratch. Okay. Okay, so we will go to the next one. Just give me a minute. I just connect the charger to my PC.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay, so now we go to the next part, next assignment, that is program in Solidity to create student data for the constructs, structures, arrays, and fallback. Now, structures and arrays are something which will be used in only initializations of your data. A fallback is the important part to be understood over here. Again, in Solidity, what is fallback? So what we have to do is again deploy this smart contract on Ethereum and observe the transaction fee and gas value. Right, just now we have seen how to observe the transaction fee and gas value after deploying it. Now let us go to what fallback function is. The Solidity fallback function is executed if none of the other functions match the function identifier or no data was provided with the function call. Only one unnamed function can be assigned to a contract, and it is executed whenever the contract receives plain ether without any data. To receive ether and add it to the total balance of account, fallback function must be marked payable. See, when we talk about few functions which are defined in your system, in your program, but which are not executable at all, means they don't have any kind of data. So there should be some mechanism to handle that part in your system or your program. So fallback is that function which is going to handle such kind of data or functions. If no such function exists, contract cannot receive ether through regular transaction. So there is no point in deploying the contract if some of the functions are not executed at all. So there is a function. If it does not show you any error while the execution, then there will be a problem. Your ether will be either spent and it will be spent unnecessarily. So to avoid this, fallback will be used to make the compiler understand that yes, there is some function without data, and that is our fallback function, which is going to handle the problems in other functions like the loss of or unavailability of data. The main properties of a fallback function are listed. That is, it has no name or arguments. If it is not marked payable, the contract will throw an exception. If it receives plain ether without data, cannot return anything, cannot be defined once per contract. It is can be defined only once per contract. It is also executed if caller meant to call the function that is not available. So as I said, to handle the unwanted problems in your system, like the caller is meant to call a function that is not actually available in your program. It is mandated to mark it external. It is limited to 2300 gas when called by another function. So there are certain limitations of fallback functions. If these are not met, the fallback functions will not execute. Just give me a minute. I will share that function over here. Example of fallback. So is the Word document visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So now here the contract's name is fback. So simply we have our basic function setx, that is we are setting some value, a boolean value, a constructor is used. Now here fallback function. Now see, directly function is written over here. There is no as such no name given to this function. Function public payable. So this will ensure that this function is a fallback function and it will keep the ether instead of spending it on other functions. So the distribution of ether will be equal, as well as it will not be unfair if we are not having a valid data in some of the functions, because see, you can deploy or you can implement this contract only in the cases where you are when you are executing some kind of a function through your contract. But in some cases, if you have written something which was not at all required in your program, but still your ether is spent and ultimately that is deducted from your account, from your wallet, you will not be able to reuse it. No ether can be reused. So you have to declare one function as fallback so that it will use it for limited purpose for catching up that problem, and then you can use the other ether will be specifically divided into the meaningful functions. Now, contract sender or function function, here the address of the receiver will be address of your contract. Now this can be your same address which you had created in the account section. In the account, in the front page, when you click for the hash, you get this hash over there. You can directly add that hash in the payable section, that is your fallback function, so that it will transfer the only the amount which is required by your functions and not extra spending on your transactions. So this way what will happen, these many amounts will be credited to your account and you will be able to reuse it in the future also. So fallback will give you the only way, the fallback is only the function which can give you the way the way to reuse or way to efficiently use your ether, the transactions. Just give me a minute. We'll go back to the shared screen. Is the PPT visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the fallback, as I told you, is executed if none of the other functions match the identifier and no data was provided for a function call. So only one unnamed function can be assigned, where in which we have used over here. See, now they have shown the execution cost, the input. Now in this example, what they had done was that the hash function used was the data or the called function use. Sorry, just give me a minute. Just a moment. There is some problem from my side in screen sharing. Is the PPT visible?
Not it, ma'am.
Oh, okay, okay. Just a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible now.
Okay, so the next point which remains for this is the case studies. Now, as I told you, the domains of blockchain are not limited to cryptocurrencies or bitcoins. Rather than there are many domains through which we can study exactly how blockchains are deployed, how blockchains are used in various scenarios, and what are their major benefits. So among them, the case studies which can be used or studied for their usage are asset registry, cryptocurrencies, interbank smart contracts, know your customer, managing clinical trials, asset optimization, and royalty payments. Now, know your customer is one of the most important case study, I think, in the blockchain, or most of the important one. Why? Because it can be relatable to our concepts. The basic concept I would like to tell is that if we are to, if we want to authorize a particular person, say a bank employee wants to authorize a customer. A customer approaches and asks for the savings account balance, or he wants to do some transaction through the bank. The first most thing asked by the bank employer will be his identity card, and that can be your Aadhaar card, the most important card nowadays, Aadhaar card or a PAN card. Now, carrying your identity in with you in your wallet and carrying your identity virtually are two different things, but one and the same. The only thing is that virtually you can secure an identity more strongly. So this is what is supplied or supported by the blockchain also. It supports the identity solutions. This is what the know your customer part is over here of case study, through which you can uh, save your other identity details. For the best example, I would like to tell you that if uh, someone is to go for a movie, which is say it's an action-based movie and it's just for the people of 18 and above. Now the guards over there, they are checking the iCards. Now when they are checking for some iCard or some identity mechanism to just to verify that you are 18-year of age and above, so it's not necessary to show them the other details. Like for example, if someone has got his license or just a PAN card to prove his birth year. So that is the only necessary part. Why show him your address and all the other things, your PAN number and all? So instead of disclosing all these things, you will be having a virtual identity wallet in your mobile where there will be authenticated iCard where you will be, your birth date will be only shown to that particular person and not the other details. So this way you are going to secure your identity. So this is one of the most important concepts or not concept, but important case study of a blockchain. So other than this, there are other blockchains or case studies which can be implemented or used for at least studying purpose in what aspects, which type of blockchain they are using, how they are implemented, where are their uses, and through which concept or through which programming languages. Now, smart contract is not, Solidity is not the only way to program it. There is also Go language, which is very widely used in Hyperledger blockchains. So those Hyperledger blockchains will implement this kind of same kind of thing which we have just now seen. These same use cases can be implemented through Go language. Okay, but in Hyperledger, not in Ethereum. Ethereum supports Solidity language, whereas Hyperledger supports Go language. So these are the differences. So right now I'm speaking only about the two. When we go through the syllabus of blockchain technology, we will be studying multiple types of blockchain, and through that you will understand the use cases. That's what I told, that the time will not be sufficient if I map your assignments with your theory of the blockchain technology, because in theory you will actually understand which are the types, and whereas when you talk about the implementation, you are only going to go for a specific part. So when I would request to all the faculties who are going to teach this is to, when you have completed that part in the theory in your sessions, theory sessions, then you can go for the implementation sessions, or then you can reach up to the case studies, because then only students will be able to understand the differences between types of blockchain and the implementations of blockchains, and of course then pros and cons, why one blockchain is used in some particular area and why other blockchain is used in the other area. So that is the main difference. So that's all from my side, the guidelines related to the LP blockchain assignments. Thank you all for patiently listening to me.